Blood ran warm down his neck. Rian Holt staggered to his knees, his hands trembling as he pressed them against the wound. The alien's fangs had cut deep, and he could still feel the burn where they pierced his skin out above him. She stood like a living flame, tall, fierce, and beautiful, in a way that made his breath catch. Her armor shimmered silver under the red sky, and her eyes glowed like molten gold. She was not just an enemy. She was royalty. Princess Kalira of the Valari Empire, and she had just bitten him. Her voice rolled through the battlefield like thunder, sharp and commanding. "This human belongs to me." The other aliens froze. Even the gunfire stopped for a heartbeat. Her soldiers exchanged uneasy glances, but said nothing, because everyone knew what that bite meant. It wasn't just violence, it was claiming. Rian didn't understand the details, but he understood one thing. His life had just changed forever. He tried to push himself up, blood dripping down his collar, but Kalira moved like lightning. One strong hand gripped his jaw, forcing him to look into her burning eyes. "Do you know what happens now, human?" Rian gritted his teeth, pain mixing with rage. "Kill me if you want. I'm not your pet." Her lips curved into something between a smile and a threat. "Oh, you'll learn. You'll learn everything." Behind her, the smoke of the battlefield rose higher. Human forces were falling back. His comlink crackled with desperate voices, but Rian knew he was cut off, surrounded, no way out. Kalira stood tall, her dark hair whipping in the wind as she gave the command. "Take him to my ship." The soldiers obeyed. Two massive Valari warriors grabbed his arms, dragging him through the broken earth. His boots scraped the ground as he fought to resist, but the grip of these aliens was like iron. Rian's heart pounded. He had seen death before. He had faced alien weapons and monsters across half the galaxy. But this was different. Being marked like this felt worse than dying. Dot, as they pulled him past the smoking ruins of his unit, his mind screamed for a plan, for any chance to escape. But deep down, something else crept in. Something he hated. Curiosity. Why didn't she kill him? Why bite him instead? The alien ship loomed ahead, a vast, sleek predator resting on the earth. Its surface pulsed with strange light, alive like skin. The ramp extended as they approached, and Rian felt like he was walking into the jaws of a beast. Inside, the air was warm and sweet, smelling of metal and flowers. The corridors curved like the inside of a living thing, glowing softly. The Valari soldiers moved without a sound, their eyes fixed forward, and then they reached the chamber. The doors opened with a hiss. It was nothing like he expected. Not a prison, not a dungeon, but a room filled with soft light, shimmering curtains, and a bed that looked like it floated on air. His gut twisted. The guards threw him forward. He hit the smooth floor hard, gritting his teeth against the pain. The doors sealed shut, leaving him alone with her. Kalira stepped closer, her boots silent against the floor. Her armor peeled away in sections, dissolving into a second skin of dark silk. Her golden eyes locked on his as she spoke in a voice that made the air feel heavy. "Remove his restraints," she commanded, the AI voice that echoed in the walls. Metal. Cuffs snapped open from his wrists. Rian rubbed his sore arms, glaring at her. "What do you want from me?" Kalira crouched in front of him, her face inches from his. Her fangs glimmered when she smiled. "You carry my mark now. In my empire. That means you are mine. Body, soul, everything." Rian's pulse hammered in his throat. "I'm not your property." Her fingers brushed the wound on his neck. The touch burned, but not from pain. From something stranger, something deeper. "You don't have a choice." For the first time in his life, Rian felt real fear, not of death, but of losing himself. Kalira stood, towering over him like a queen claiming her throne. From this moment, human, you belong to me. And soon, the whole galaxy will know it. Rian's jaw clenched, fury and helplessness twisting inside him. But behind that anger, another feeling crept in. A question he didn't want to ask. Why does she want me? Before he could speak, the floor trembled. A distant boom shook the chamber. Alarms flared red across the walls. A cold mechanical voice filled the room. Warning! Enemy ships approaching. All hands to battle stations. Kalira turned, her eyes flashing with fire. She didn't look afraid. She looked hungry. "Stay here, human," she ordered, her voice sharp as a blade. "If you try to run, you'll regret it." The doors hissed shut behind her, leaving Rian alone in the glowing chamber, his blood still warm on his skin, and his mind spinning with one. Truth, he wasn't a prisoner. He was something far worse. He was claimed. The door sealed behind her with a whisper, but it sounded like a death sentence. Rian spun around, fists clenched. The walls glowed like liquid gold, alive with strange patterns that pulsed to her steps. Kalira walked in like a shadow wrapped in fire armor gone, replaced by something softer, darker. It clung to her like midnight silk, revealing just enough to make his heartbeat stumble. "Remove his clothes," she said softly. The words struck harder than any blade. Rian's chest tightened as if the air itself turned heavy. He didn't move. "Try it," he growled. Kalira's smile was slow, dangerous, like a predator amused by its prey. She stepped closer, her golden eyes glowing brighter in the dim light. "You still think you have a choice?" Rian didn't answer. His mind screamed for escape, for a weapon, for anything. But the room was empty, except for her and that impossible bed floating in the center like a throne. She stopped in arms. Length away. Her scent hit him, something wild, metallic, and sweet. It made his thoughts blur for a second. Just a second. But she saw it. "Good," Kalira whispered, tilting her head. "I want you to fight me. For now." He moved fast, trying to dart past her, but Kalira moved like lightning. One twist of her wrist, and his arm was locked behind his back. Her other hand pressed against his chest, shoving him against the glowing wall. The surface shifted under his body like warm water turning to glass. Restraints formed around his wrists and ankles before he could even curse. Rian gritted his teeth, muscles straining. "This is your idea of a crown room? Chains and tricks?" Her laugh was low and sharp. "Chains of gold, human, not iron. These. Walls read your pulse. They know your fear." She stepped close, her voice curling like smoke. "You smell like defiance." And something else. Rian glared at her. "You think biting me makes me yours?" Her fangs glinted when she smiled. "You don't understand, do you? In my empire, the bite is law. Your blood carries my mark. My claim is written in your veins." She leaned closer, her breath brushing his ear. "If anyone touches you now, it is death. For them. For you. Because you are mine." Rian forced a laugh, sharp and bitter. "Sounds like slavery." Kalira's hand slid from his chest to his jaw, holding his face gently, but her grip was iron. Slavery? No. Possession. Protection. Power. Her eyes locked on his, and for a moment he saw something strange in them, not just hunger. Something deeper. "You fought like no one I've seen. You faced death and didn't flinch. That is why I bit you. That is why you're still alive." Her tone softened for a heartbeat, then hardened again like steel. "But if you try to run, again, I will make you beg to stay." Before he could answer, alarms screamed through the chamber again. Red light washed over them as a mechanical voice thundered. "Alert! Enemy boarding detected. Defense units deployed. Kalira's smile vanished. Her head snapped toward the door. Then her gaze cut back to him sharp, urgent. Stay here, human. Do not move. Do not speak. If they find you without my scent, they'll tear you apart. The restraints melted away as the wall released him. His arms fell heavy at his sides, blood throbbing through his veins. Kalira turned to leave, but Rian grabbed her wrist. You think I'll sit here and wait to die? For a moment, silence hung between them. Her golden eyes met his, burning like suns. Then fight beside me, she said softly. But remember, human, if you fall, I'll kill them all for touching what's mine. She yanked him toward the door as the sound of weapons and alien roars thundered closer. The door exploded inward before Kalira could touch it. Shards of metal spun like razors through the glowing air. Rian didn't even think. He shoved her down, shielding her with his body as a plasma bolt sliced the wall. Where her head had been. Kill the human first. A voice snarled from the smoke. Rian froze. Those weren't human voices. They were Velari. Through the haze, armored figures stormed in sleek black plating, glowing crimson sigils. But their helmets bore a royal crest. Kalira's own bloodline. Traitors. She hissed. Her fangs bared dot figures, poured through the shattered wall. At their front walked a figure taller than the rest, his armor edged in silver. His voice rolled like thunder as he raised a crimson blade. Kalira, by order of the Velari. Council, you are stripped of your crown. Your claim is void. Your mark on the human, a disgrace. Kalira's lips curled back, fangs flashing. Kazil, she spat, her voice dripping venom. My own blood dares to speak law to me? A tall warrior, her cousin, stepped forward. His gaze slid to Rian like a knife. You brought shame to the Empire with this thing. That ends now. He raised his blade toward Rian. Kill the human first. Rian didn't wait to be a target. He grabbed the fallen plasma spear from the ground and lunged as the first assassin charged. Sparks screamed as steel met steel. Kalira moved like a storm beside him. Her blades carved arcs of blue light, slicing through armor, spraying purple. Blood across the glowing walls. Every swing was fury. Every breath war. Behind you. She roared, and Rian spun just in time to block a killing strike. The impact numbed his arm, but he slammed his spear forward, driving it into the alien's chest. They fought side by side, back to back, the heat of flames licking their skin as shadows swarmed them. Kalira's voice came between gritted teeth. They want the throne, human. They think killing you will break me. Rian parried another strike, rage boiling in his veins. And will it? Her laugh was sharp, wild. No, it will burn me. And when I burn, the galaxy burns with me. When the last assassin fell, silence crashed into the chamber like a heavy weight. Smoke curled from the walls, glowing cracks pulsing where plasma fire had scorched the gold. Kalira staggered, one hand pressed to her wound. Purple blood oozed between her fingers. Rian stepped forward without thinking. Sit down. She glared at him, pride blazing even through pain. I don't take orders from humans. Fine, he snapped, grabbing her arm and forcing her. Toward the bed, then take it as a suggestion. He pushed her down gently on the floating bed, his hands already moving to tear strips from the silk curtains. The glowing fabric hissed under his fingers. You know what you're doing? She rasped, watching him with curious eyes. Field medic, he muttered, pressing the glowing silk harm against her wound. On Earth, we call this keeping you alive, Kalira hissed, her claws digging into the bed. Her fangs flashed as she breathed through the pain. But then she laughed a soft, sharp laugh that made his skin prickle. No one has ever touched me without fear before, she whispered. Her voice was low, dangerous, almost tender. Before he could answer, the room shook again. The ship's AI boomed from the walls. Alert. Internal sabotage detected. Enemy fleet closing in. Evacuation protocol active. Kalira grabbed his wrist, her eyes burning with something fierce. They will take everything from me. Human my throne, my name, and you. Rian swallowed hard. Why me? She held his gaze, her voice like a blade's edge. Because you carry my mark. And if they kill you, I lose everything. Asterisk. The walls split open like torn flesh, spilling smoke and fire into the chamber. Rian barely had time to throw himself forward before the blast wave hit. The heat burned his skin. The sound shattered his ears. And then, through the smoke, he saw her. Kalira stood in the firelight, golden eyes blazing, her blades glowing blue in her hands. The flames painted her like a goddess of war. And a cornered animal. Stay behind. Human, she snarled. But it was too late for that dot figures poured through the shattered wall Valari warriors, in black armor, crimson crests glowing like blood. At their front walked Kazil, towering, his silver-edged armor gleaming with cruel pride. You've lost, he said coldly. The council wants your head, and his blood. Kalira's voice was pure steel. Come take it. They came like shadows. Kalira moved first, a streak of blue fire in the dark, blades slicing through metal and flesh. Rian stayed close, slamming his stolen spear into an enemy's throat, feeling the alien blood burn his hands. The chamber became hellfire, screams, and blood raining across the golden floor. When the last attacker fell, the room burned in silence. The air reeked of death. Kalira staggered, collapsing into his arms. Her wound was worse now, deep and ugly. Stay with me, Rian muttered, lifting her onto his shoulder. The ship groaned around them, alarms screaming. Docking bays. She rasped. Escape pods. Hurry. They ran through flames and smoke, past corpses of her own people. Betrayal bled from every wall. The ship shuddered under cannon fire. As the traitor fleet tore it apart, they reached the bay. Pods lined the walls like silver bullets waiting for the trigger. Kalira slammed her hand onto the console, opening a pod. Get in, she ordered. What? About you? Her fangs flashed in a savage grin. I'll hold them off. No, Rian said, voice hard. Not without you. You think you can stop me? She hissed. He stepped close, his voice like steel. No, I think I can save you. Her golden eyes locked on his, and for the first time, something in her broke. You are madness, human, she whispered. The floor shook. Explosions ripped the ceiling open, hurling them toward the void. Gravity died. Fire and steel spun in. The black. Kalira's claws sank into the floor, one arm catching Rian as the void tried to tear him away. Her voice was raw. If you let go, you die. And you? He shouted. If I die, the bond kills you too. The truth hit like a blade. The bite wasn't just a claim. It was life itself. Then we live together, he roared, hauling her into the pod as the bay exploded into fire. The pod launched into the void, spinning through debris, falling toward the crimson moon below. Asterisk, the crash hit like a hammer. The pod tore across jagged rock, metal screaming, then split open in a blast of smoke and sparks. Rian crawled out, blood dripping down his face. Pain roared in every bone. But when he saw her slumped, bleeding, her golden eyes half-closed pain, didn't matter. He ripped the straps free, pulling her into his arms. Stay with me. Her breath came in broken whispers. You? Still alive, human? Yeah, he muttered, tearing his jacket, pressing it against the gash in her side. And you will be too. Her laugh was faint, sharp as glass. Should have left me. Not my style. He worked fast, tying the fabric tight, his hands slick with purple blood. The storm outside howled like a beast, red dust whipping across the barren ground. "Why fight so hard? For me?" she whispered, her voice a dying ember. He froze for a breath. The answer should have been survival, the bond. But it wasn't just that anymore. He met her gaze, voice low. "Because I don't want to watch you die." Her claws brushed his cheeks off this time, not cutting. "No one has ever touched me without fear before." Before he could answer, shadows moved in the storm. Tall, armored shapes Velari. Hunters, glowing like demons in the crimson dust. Kalira's eyes hardened. "If they take me alive, they will break the bond. And you will die screaming." Rian rose slowly, blood-stained blade in his hands. "Then they're not taking you." The first spear came out of the storm like lightning. Rian spun, grabbing Kalira, dragging her behind the rocks as plasma fire scorched the ground. Dot figures closed in through the crimson mist, weapons glowing, voices cold. "Find the human. Bring the princess alive." Alive. The word chilled him. Kalira's voice was a whisper. "He'll tear it from your veins." Piece by piece. Rian gritted his teeth, eyes on the enemy. "Then let's kill them first." The first hunter leapt. Rian dodged, drove his blade through the joint, ripped it free, and cut deep across its throat. Purple blood sprayed the dust. Kalira fought too half-broken, but still a storm. Her claws slashing, her eyes burning with fire and pride. But her strength bled away fast. Dot. Then Rian saw it, a dropship above the storm, sleek and black, their way out. "Think you can walk?" Kalira's fangs flashed in a weak grin. "I can kill." They ran through fire, Rian dragging her, bodies burning. The ground behind them. The ramp slammed open. Guards poured out. Rian roared and charged. Steel met flesh. Blood painted the dust. Kalira leapt like a flame beside him, carving a path through death. They staggered into the ship. The hatch sealed. Engines roared. The dropship tore into the sky. Kalira collapsed into his arms, her breath hot against his throat. "Human? Why?" He held her close, voice raw. "Because I choose you." Her eyes widened, molten gold, catching the light. Her voice broke like a whisper of fire. "If we live, you won't belong to my empire." "Then what?" Her lips curved faintly. "You will belong to me." Before he could speak, the ship jolted. A war cruiser filled the sky, guns blazing, and on its throne of steel stood Kazil. Asterisk, the stars turned red with fire. The cruiser opened like a predator, cannons vomiting death. The dropship shook under the storm, alarms screaming. Kalira dragged herself up, eyes burning with fury and something. Softer. "He's here? Your cousin?" She nodded once. "He wants your blood, and my crown. How do we stop him?" Her gaze locked on his, molten and fierce. The bond. "If I complete it, I take your strength, your will, enough to kill him." Rian swallowed hard. "What happens to me?" "You will never leave me. Not in life, not in death." The ship screamed as fire ripped across its hull. He met her eyes and said the only word that mattered. "Do it." Her claws curled around his neck, pulling him close. Her breath burned his skin. "Do not fight me, human. I'm done fighting you." Her fangs sank deep. Pain seared like lightning, then turned to heat, to fire, to something that shook the stars inside him. Blood flowed, their hearts beating. As one, their souls binding in a blaze of gold and crimson. Kalira lifted her head, lips stained with red and violet, eyes blazing brighter than suns. "Now you are mine." "No," he rasped. "We belong to each other." Power roared through her veins. She rose like a storm, wounds sealing, strength reborn. "Hold steady." she shouted as they dove into the cruiser's bay. The ramp blew. Open. They charged into hell together, her blades screaming blue fire, his spear a storm of steel. Kazil waited on the throne, voice like thunder. You bind yourself to a human? A weak, fleeting thing? Kalira's answer was a roar as she clashed with him, steel on steel, sparks lighting the dark. Every strike shook the deck. Blood painted the throne. When Kazil's blade locked with hers, Rian hurled the spear. It pierced his chest. Kalira's blade carved the final stroke. Silence fell. Soldiers knelt in shadows, voices rising as one. Long live the Empress. And her blood bonded. Kalira turned to Rian, her voice low, fierce, and tender. Rule with me. He smiled, sharp and wild. Wasn't planning anything else. And as the throne burned behind them, they walked forward bound in blood, fire, and something no empire could break. Forever. Asterisk.